Welcome.
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 We are the founders of Wild Food Cafe. This is Ice Day. And I'm Joel.
And we're going to talk about going raw for a month of August, which we call Wild Rawgust. A lot of you already joined us for this community event that's happening the whole of August, and we're very excited to do it together. And we're going to answer some questions, and I'm going to share some experiences and tips and tricks today with you to make it easier for you to join us and go raw. What benefits people can expect going raw for a month,
Well,
in your experience?
they can expect all kinds of benefits and they can intend all kinds of benefits. So it's very much about what is your intention and point of focus and perspective. But we can use it as an excuse to have the most amazing month ever, which we can choose to do every month, raw or not, but we can definitely use the power of organic, wild, raw, living foods to supercharge all of our intentions and practices, to act as a catalyst to boost us forward into greater levels of thriving and vitality.
So I'll just clarify the question. Why would anyone go raw?
Why would anyone go raw? Anyone would go raw to have more fun.
To have more fun.
And that's having more fun, experiencing more fulfillment in terms of eating raw, living and wild foods to nourish their bodies with both micronutrients and macronutrients, to flood their bodies, their lives with colour, with juiciness, with enhanced flavorsomeness, with deliciousness, with ripeness, especially in this month of August here where everything's coming into its fullness, it's harvest season, everything is at its most delicious, especially foods that people love to eat, berries, fruits, leaves. It's the best time of year, at least here in London and UK, for a variety selection of produce.
So I happen to know some private information that you have been completely raw for a decade and more. Is that true?
Yeah, kind of true. Between the year 2000 and 2010, I did pretty much all raw, apart from maybe a chocolate bar here or there, and dealing with an emotionally intense time in India over the period of a couple of weeks, and having a few curries. Other than that, raw for 10 years, and then from 2010 to 2000 and now, pretty much, very much, mostly raw, with a lot of experimentation into the wider world of food and nutrition, just to get a more comprehensive experience and viewpoint.
Do you feel that that decade being raw influenced your life in any major way?
Very much. It was a fantastic, supercharging experience. It was invigorating. It helped potentiate and speed up all the other experiments and practices I was doing in my life. It allowed me to experience greater vitality. All my senses became extremely acute. That would be enhanced vision and eyesight, brighter colours, greater sense of smell and taste, greater ability for hearing and listening, enhanced memory, relief of mental fogginess and emotional yo-yoisms. And that's just to name a few. Enhanced psychic perception and intuition, enhanced sex life, enhanced ability to experience magnetism in my life. In other words, have cohesive, coherent attraction of the things that vibrated with the truth of who I realized I am as I got to know myself more and more.
Great. So I have another question. Are there any dangers that people should bear in mind going raw for a month?
Well, it has to be said as a disclaimer, I'm not a medical doctor, although I am known as Doc Choc.
Doc Choc.
Dr. Chocolate. People have to choose to be responsible and one, take responsibility for their health, and that starts with the greatest thing that we can share with people, and that is to be their own healer, to trust their own inner guidance, to seek outside medical guidance if needs be and when needs be, but to learn to listen to their hearts and their bodies more and more, to listen to the truth inside them, to be guided by the feeling of lightness, to experience openness where they have a greater communication with existence through the tool and the barometer that is this human experience. So people will already know if they have particular dysbiosis or any kind of disease challenge. They'll already know whether it's recommended that they should eat more raw foods or not.
They don't have to go completely raw, right?
No one has to go completely raw. It's about choosing an intention, whether it's to go 50% raw, whether it's to go all raw. If there are no impediments in the way of going all raw for a month, then I would definitely advise it. I would very much encourage people to, it's not just about blanket going all raw and eating uncooked foods by any stretch of the imagination. We have to make it a delicious and pleasant experience, so it has to be delicious. At the same time, we must be careful not to overdo certain aspects of deliciousness. For instance, a lot of us would find sweet foods, sugary foods and fruits one of the most easiest to eat and most delicious.
I love it.
And it is summer, so a lot of those fruits are in season, and I do encourage people to deepen their experience and joy of these fruits that are in season right now, but to make sure to really balance it, keep all the elements in balance, make sure they're getting enough vegetables, and really err on the side generally of eating a lot more vegetables, and fruit as being the dessert, or if another way to say it would be
starter.
Exactly, as a starter. But to have the mass of their food to come from more vegetables rather than fruits.
Okay, so I have a good question related to that. How to make sure, how do we get enough protein and carbohydrate without eating too many sugary foods?
Yes, okay, so addressing those one at a time, we can choose to convert our body to either use different things as their fuel source, calorie source. So we can either get calories from sugar, which is carbohydrates in all its forms, from white sugar to rice to potatoes to all of the wonderful, beautiful fruits on this earth, from apples to cherries to mangoes. And we can easily either use that as a fuel source, or we can convert our body towards burning more oils and fats as a fuel source, which are a lot more calorifically dense. However, if the question was something along the lines of how can I make sure I'm getting enough carbohydrates without eating too much fruit on a raw diet, I'm not sure I can give an answer to that specifically, because if we're aiming to specifically have uncooked foods and to be raw, we can get our calories from another source, but it won't be carbohydrate calories.
Yeah.
Carbohydrates have their purpose and there is a need for them. They don't have to be our dominant fuel source.
Get it.
So that person could migrate towards more of the seeds, especially in season, whether that's sprouted seeds or dried seeds or dehydrated, activated seeds, avocados, olives, oils, nuts. And they're going to get all the calories they require for energy and burning through those foods, and then they can eat a little bit of fruit as more the recreational, fun, tasty, sweet, easy.
Excellent. My final question for you would be, what are your tips and tricks for organizing a raw food month? So, from your experience as a long-term raw foodie, do you have any tricks how you organize your meals to make sure you always have food in your house, that kind of stuff?
Sure. Well, it's all about quality of food, whether we're choosing to be raw, vegetarian, vegan or omnivorous would be to increase the quality of whichever category of foods we're in. So that means going directly to the source, so veering definitely towards the organic, organic independent stores, and definitely the farmers markets. Of course, the pinnacle of the experience would be having your own garden and growing things in harmony with nature. Not just any garden, but a garden that has really modelled nature's diversity. So definitely visiting the farmers markets every week, no matter where you are, they are accessible. Getting as many wild foods as possible, so learning one wild food at a time and foraging it, whether that is the blackberry that will be coming into season right now. That's probably, probably the wildest, tastiest raw food that we can forage right now, and all over the parks, gardens, you name it, of England. Blackberries will be in season, and there are still good nettles about that haven't gone to seed. Dandelions, if you live near the coast, wild sea purslane, numerous wild foods. Wild mushrooms will be coming in soon as well. So really learning what we're doing and not just picking things randomly. So going on a foraging course, getting a foraging book. Learn to identify one plant at a time. Later in August, it'll be time to pick the rose hips, one of the greatest
Love the rose hip.
nutritional foods of the United Kingdom, our chief source of indigenous vitamin C. If you're lucky enough, you might find some wild sea buckthorn or even goji berries that people have planted, and even physalis. So farmers markets is a must. Go and connect with the farmers, go to meet them, get there early, then it's less, you're going to get the best produce and you're going to have more time to connect and understand about the produce and how it's grown. And as well as that, stocking up from your local health food store some amazing foods that is really going to provide you with all the nourishment you could possibly wish for. And surrounding yourselves with foods that promote well-being, thriving and joy, and that put a smile on your face. So perhaps it would be a good idea to clear out our kitchen cupboards of anything that is less than that vibration, and adding in a huge selection of all different nuts and seeds. Definitely a huge range of seaweed. I'd like everyone to try at least 5 different seaweeds in August. Some you may not like, some you might not like moist and fresh and wet. Maybe you like chewing on them dry. There are, we've got to remember 2/3 of the planet are covered in ocean, and the most nutritious things growing in the ocean is the plant life, and the purest and the most humane. So let's learn to make friends with sea vegetables.
Sorry.
And so Aiste, tell us the story of Wild Rawgust and why you are doing it.
Alright, so Rawgust started a couple of years ago when I spontaneously decided to go raw in the month of August, which is my birthday month. And the main reason to go raw was just to explore the possibilities of more vitality, cleanse my body, cleanse my mind and my soul, and to break up those very intrinsic food patterns that we all get into. So throughout the year we tend to eat, better and worse foods. We have better and worse patterns. So I want to make sure that at least once a year I give my body plenty of time to rest from those patterns, relax, restore, and allow the natural wisdom of the body to come through without burdening it with heavy foods, with cooked foods, with foods that are hard to digest, and to be really conscious of what I'm eating, eat lightly, and to see what happens. And I love exploring the possibilities, and I love exploring the results that come from this experience, because there are many. I feel a lot more vital, a lot more energy, and the body feels just so youthful and strong and so in tune with the season. So these are the things that I'm after and love playing with, and I cannot wait for more and more people to experience this. So that's why I'm doing Rawgust. And this year, in fact, I decided to Rawgust again, and then some of our team from the cafe decided to join me, and then we decided to make it a public and communal experience because we realized that people need support with something so transformational and so important in their lives. The more support we have, the easier it is to achieve better results and experience more transformation. So we're providing a more communal space for people to feel supported, inspired, to enable people to share their experiences with more and more people.
So Aiste, tell us, what are some of your staple raw foods?
Right, so I don't follow the 3 meal a day rules. I tend to eat a lot on the go, so I love snacking on very nutritionally dense foods, and one of my favorites are olives, to make sure I always have enough energy. So olives would be my staple. Seaweeds, I love adding them to any dishes that I make, or have them as a side to make sure that I feel full up. I tend to be quite a heady person, and I can get ungrounded if I do not choose the right food options. So I always make sure to have grounded foods. So olives and seaweed are both very grounded foods. Then I love having everything fermented. So kombucha, sauerkraut, kefir, what else? Kimchi. I add them to any meal I have because it's great for my stomach. It encourages my friendly bacteria to do the good job, and it makes me feel great. So I keep adding those foods to every meal I have. And then for breakfast I tend to have smoothies packed with superfoods, nut butters, chocolate. I love frozen bananas and make ice cream from them, but that is my naughty indulgence. What else do I like? I love making courgette pasta and other vegetable pastas and noodles because I love noodles. And I love making dips and sauces and eating them in all sorts of different wraps. So vegetable wraps, green leaf wraps, coconut wraps, you name it, wraps. I love wraps. And I love chocolate. I eat a lot of chocolate, I'll admit. It varies from the time of the month. That's it. I love fruit. I eat fruit in summer. Tomatoes are my favorite when they're in season. And I love avocados. So I tend to make a meal out of avocados and tomatoes pretty much every day. I also make sure to add extra nutritionally dense seeds. My favorite is held hemp seed and also pumpkin seed, and I also love pine nuts.
Oh.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap up this video?
Just want to say thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and post your questions that you'd love to ask or some support and guidance. Come visit us at the cafe. Feel free to come on one of our Wild Wellbeing Raw Immersion courses. Sign up for our newsletter with our free ebook on the website, which takes you to a link with the 11 gorgeous recipes and a little bit more about infinite nutrition.
That's right.